Are you political, Mr. Gaines?
No, sir.
Good. We have no tolerance for politics at the White House.
I'm Cecil Gaines. I'm the new butler.
At the core of the film is your character's relationship with his son, Louis, who is choosing the path of activism while Cecil chooses a path of service. How did you approach the challenge of that relationship?
I looked at it as like, I want to keep my son safe from harm. As you see him in the first scene when he's saying, why don't you stay and go to Howard? Here in Washington, why are you going to Fisk, you know, down south? I can't protect you. It's not that he didn't agree with everyone having equal rights or with some of the things that people were doing. It's just he didn't want his son to be harmed.
In preparation for the sit-ins, I know it's just performance, but I still feel like it's got to be rough. You particularly have like the training for the sit-ins sequence where people are just verbally abusing you and screaming at you. That's a tough day at the office, I would think, even for a performer.
Acting is make-believe, and then it's not. You know, visceral things happen in the body that are very real, you know, and it sometimes takes a lot after scenes like that to walk away.
One of the toughest scenes was when we were on the Freedom Bus. The Ku Klux Klan, you know, it was so frenzied. It had to be in order for it to look real. And it was so loud that they couldn't hear cut. And for a split second, you got a sense of what it must have actually been like.
In reality, what we went through, acting it out, was nothing in comparison to what our heroes and heroines really did.
Today, it's like a lot of kids have such disconnect to what, you know, the kids that were doing, the college students were doing back then, sacrificing their life just to be heard. They stood for what they believed in, and they died for what they believe in, not just the black Americans, but white Americans as well.
The reason why I did the movie was because it was a father-son story. It was a love story between a father and a son, and I thought that transcended race. I didn't realize until we were on the bus shooting that bus scene that it was bigger than just a father and son love story, and that, oh my God, what are we on to? We're on to something that's bigger than that.
Here we are putting out a piece of entertainment, which is also history, which absolutely may have the power to make people reposition how they feel about this period.
That's the idea. That's the idea, and I mean, it's certainly fortuitous, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to make such a choice, because that doesn't come around too often.
You guys have a scene where you're all playing cards or something together, and there's like a parrot or something. You have this spectacular look on your face in some shot. Ultimately, it's like,
the parrot wasn't meant to steal the scene.
That's what that was.
But the fact is that, you know, the parrot was going to do what the parrot was going to do.
Yes.
And the parrot was making a lot of noise, and then Lee asked me to throw something over at the parrot, and then the parrot became a very important part of the scene, and great actor.
I think every character inside the movie, you know, had to represent a certain element of society, a certain demographic. Howard is someone who you would think, because he was light-skinned in the 60s, that the light-skinned people had it in and was well looked after. You know, if you look like them, then they'll treat you more like themselves, you know. But he had to represent a darker part of the black society that was afraid to step up and thinking that if you do something, it's all going to be pointless, and really tore down everybody else that was around him because he couldn't believe in himself anymore.
The reason why this movie is not just entertaining, but I think of value and meaning to African Americans in particular, but to the nation as a whole, is because it allows us to have the opportunity to see the spectrum of the civil rights movement through the eyes of one man and one family, and to feel his soul. And through the feeling of his soul, he allows us to understand the spirit of the country. That's what he does. Forrest Whitaker, good Lord Almighty. Good Lord Almighty.
Amen, sister.
Amen, Sister Forrest Whitaker.
Amen.
Good
Incredible.
God, incredible.
Everything you are and everything you have is because of that butler.